By the 13th century, countries in Europe were expanding rapidly, notably Sweden and Russia. The Swedes had invaded Finland and had captured a vast majority of the area. However, the Russians were also looking to expand into the region, causing huge conflict. They had fought wars in the 1200s, and by 1495, Russia got tired of fighting Sweden, so they then created an alliance with Denmark, Sweden's sworn enemy. Infuriated at this, Sweden declared war on Russia, starting the First War. The Swedish armies moved down and captured the area where modern-day St. Petersburg would be. However, the Russians quickly pushed the Swedes back. By 1495 to 1497, there would be little to no fighting, and in 1497, the two made a truce. Now, nearly 56 years later, two would fight again due to border skirmishes. There had been movement on the border as the Swedes tried to enter Novgorodian territory, but the Russians repelled the attack. However, the conflict set the stages for the Livonian War a year later. By 1590, the Russian Tsar Boris Godunov wanted the land back that he lost to Sweden in the Livonian War. There had been fighting on the border from 1590 to 1592 until the Russians broke the border in 1593. They had not seen any gains in their advancement, so they made peace in 1595. The next Russo-Swedish War would take place in 1656, during the Second Northern War. As Russia was a major player in the war, they rushed to fight its rival. Sweden had intervened in the Russo-Polish War, giving Russia a bigger reason to go to war with Sweden. This seized southern Livonia in 1656 and continued on until 1658 as the Russians moved their forces into the east. Once again, the two sides made a truce, ending the conflict, but it would be the Swedes who would lose the Second Northern War. Meanwhile, the Hat Party in Sweden had been instigating another war with Russia as they sought to regain the land lost in the Great Northern War. The Russians respond to the conspiracy and invade Sweden in 1741. They invaded southeastern Finland and managed to hold on to it for a couple months. In 1742, they then continued their advance and by September captured all of Finland. Sweden, who lost their prized possession, surrendered to Russia. Although they got to keep Finland, they had to cede parts of Karelia and Savonia to Russia. The final war broke out in 1788 and was instigated by Gustav III of Sweden, who sought to wage war on Russia to gain popularity in Swedish politics. Gustav was very unpopular, so starting a war with Russia and attempting to regain Sweden's former lands would be in his best interest. The two would fight on the border, and eventually the Danes would enter the war on the side of the Russians. Ultimately, the war ended with the status quo in 1790. The two would fight the Finnish War 1808 and the Napoleonic Wars, ultimately on opposing sides. However, they would eventually fight together against Napoleonic France, and Russia got all of Finland from Sweden in 1815, and the Swedes got Norway in return. And the two would eventually become close allies.